Did you turn? Are you starting? Because I'm going to show my foot again.
Okay,
All
you
right.
could
So this
show
is
your foot again.
my foot right now. Just ignore the messy room. But this is my foot because I had a tailor bunion removed, and it's
Yay.
so painful.
It's a lot of info. A
Yeah.
tail.
Well, no, just a little bit. Why is she in the boot? Like good interview
Like,
skills, right? Why is she in the
is
boot?
it a fashion statement?
Mm.
No, I
She,
mean a lot
get
of info that I
one.
want to look it up. But what kind of bunion?
Should I go
Sounds like an.
thrifting for a boot
Wait,
today?
is that an indie rock band from Madison, Wisconsin? I think I saw them. No, not really.
Well, look,
Whoops.
Steve, I need to show you that I'm coming to you live from the Kiss Room at 10 East 16th
This
Street.
this is going to be a show that, it's going to be a more of a YouTube, I think, show. But let me just say one thing.
This
I
is
want you to.
definitely more of a YouTube show because I also need to show you the Paul Stanley sheets, but I'll give you a moment
Yeah,
before
set
I.
it up, Steve. Go for
Well,
it.
I just want to say that I don't think I told you guys this, but it was 7 years ago today that I started on my first podcast episode. So this
Wow.
is the
Yay.
Congrats.
beginning of the eighth year, and I cannot think of a better way to
Mazel
start
tov.
it off with you two.
And a
Yeah.
tab.
Is that really a tab?
No, it's a Diet Coke, but in a tab glass.
Um,
Breakfast.
this is what we have to start off with, the choke story, because, Debbie has to tell the choke story because she said I was too stoned last time
You
to.
were you were too stoned. I'm trying to get away from the
Well,
glass
I
that
didn't
window.
plan on that, by the way. I took this edible and it was supposed to kick in about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, but we talked. You just kept telling me amazing stories. So today I did it easier. I'm already high. Okay. I smoked weed before I started because I was like, it's a celebration.
Yeah.
Okay, Debbie, we're ready
Because it's
now.
Sunday morning because it's 11:05 because all right.
We're
Um
ready for the choke story.
okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the choke story.
So I started telling this story when I was interviewed by Steve the last time on Blowing Smoke, and he took a gummy and the gummy kicked in and I didn't know it and he was very, very stoned. So the conversation kept branching off into more different avenues than it normally would have. So I started telling this story, but I never got to finish it. But I feel like it's an important story because one, I know you want to talk about the hardcore scene in Boston. I know we all know each other from, well, we don't know you from, but Julie and I know each other from Boston. So we're
I
going to be
didn't meet you
telling a lot
guys
of
till we
Boston
worked
stories.
together.
Yeah,
Both of
yeah,
you.
I
yeah.
didn't know Steve till I got to LA, so.
Yeah, it's that's crazy because you knew Steve from LA, I knew Steve from New York, but we all have these like very strong Boston roots.
Yes.
Um, but this was kind of the beginning of the whole thing for me because you figure I'm the suburban girl from Hackensack, New Jersey, and I had been listening to, and we talked about this, Bowie and Blondie and the Talking Heads and stuff like that. And we would go to CBGB's or Max's Kansas, whatever, and see whoever we saw there. But I'd never heard of the hardcore scene. I had no idea what that is. So I'm a freshman in college and I'm living in the dorms at Emerson College. I'm
For
living,
context, what year was that?
it would have been 1981.
September 81. That's the beginning,
Yeah,
really, of the
yeah,
hardcore
sometime in the
scene.
fall of 81. Um, I wouldn't put it maybe exactly at September, but definitely fall of 81. Um, and I call up WBCN to make a request, and I remember that I was requesting a Kiss song because you never heard Kiss on the radio, and I was such a huge Kiss fan. Um, so because I'm sitting on Paul Stanley sheets and Julie's in the Kiss room, so we're Kiss people.
And you kissed
Uh,
Gene Simmons?
yeah. And I kissed Gene Simmons.
Hmm.
Um, so this kid, this intern answers the phone. And I don't remember his name, but it was like, you know, cockroach or some kind of name like that, right? Uh and he rails against corporate rock. Why do you want to hear Kiss? Blah blah blah. The man, da da da. And I'd never heard anybody do that before. Um, so he says, we just start chatting about music and where I'm from, and that I'm a Emerson student. I've just come to Boston. And he's very nice. And he says, "Listen, I'm going to get off of here at whatever 9 o'clock. I want to take you to see a band. This is just definitely something that you don't know anything about." And I was like, "Sure, I don't know." He felt safe. I was up for an adventure. I said, "Sure." So he picked me up at my dorm, and we went over to this loft, and it was Choke's band. It was Negative FX
Ooh,
were playing. Yeah. And, it was crazy. It was all these skinhead boys and the mosh
the
pits.
crew, the Boston crew.
It was the Boston hardcore crew. And it was a loft, so it wasn't even a club. Very small space. And it was nuts, I just and Choke was such a huge, larger than life performer, so he's like stomping around and it's angry and it was crazy, and I feel like it was the beginning to everything else that followed.
Yeah.
Wow,
I would
interesting.
I remember the first time I met Choke too was at WERS, and it was one of those live weekends. I don't know if you remember them. Debbie worked on them in subsequent years, but it was a weekend where we did all the fundraising. And it was like 48 hours of live whatever. And so everyone was kind of in the hallway waiting to go on, waiting to do this. And we were sitting in the hallway, that's where we hung out in at
Always,
WERS,
always,
the
yeah.
hallway, because it was a shitty old building, right? I mean, like I said, I once had a car crash while I was on the air, and people were calling in going, "What was that crash?" Because you could hear everything from, this ERS studio, including people would be like, "Julie," from like down on Beacon Street. And I'd be like, "All right, I'll come get you." Um, and he's sitting next to me. And I didn't know him. And I had this huge bag of M&Ms. And I just kind of like, I didn't even look at him. I just kind of like went like this, like, want some? I didn't even say want some. I just went like, and he stuck his hand in. And not even looking at me, not even saying anything. He's just like, God's perfect food. And I just started laughing because it reminded me of the scene in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, when he hands him the gum, when he goes, "Oh, juicy fruit," And then we started talking, and the first thing he was saying to me was, you know, what real hardcore is like, that old Baroque organ music and like Wagner. That's the most hardcore you can get. I was like, I could see that. So that was how I met him. I think I met Shred for the first time. I think Choke and Shred were both on the Emerson hockey team, which
I believe
um,
that.
Yeah, that makes
I think they were the only straight men at Emerson probably. But they are, and Emerson like won, like came in like first or whatever that year, and there was a whole big scandal because apparently the rest of the team were all like friends of Shred and whoever. They were all stringers. None of them went to Emerson
no,
other
no,
than
no,
like,
went to Emerson.
yeah. It was like just a bunch of people that like the four, straight guys at Emerson like came in and brought them in. So it was like it's like a big thing.
Oh, I didn't know there were only four straight guys there. So
Well, maybe
Debbie,
there may have been 10. I might
Debbie
have
had
exaggerated.
one of the straight ones. He said to say hello, by the way, because he texted
Who?
me this morning. Curtis
Oh,
said
Oh
to say
yeah,
Curtis.
yeah, yeah,
hello.
yeah, yeah.
I spent a night in a dorm at Emerson once. It was 1983. I
I
don't
was
want to
there,
really say her name on here right now.
Do you
but
remember which dorm it was?
I don't, but it was she had a roommate, so we were they had the guest rooms at the end of the hall or something. It was like a guest room, like a
Well,
lounge or something.
was
I
it
was like a
in
lounge.
oh, so it's probably Fensgate.
I think it was
Charles,
overlooking the park. What's that street? Tremont?
Oh,
Near Tremont?
it might have been that the building on like there was one other building. Remember it had the student union in it, Deb? It
oh
was
yeah.
yeah, that I think that had some. that had some Emerson dorms
I
in
may
it.
have been.
Charles Gate was a crazy building. Julie, did you ever live in the dorms?
Yeah, I lived in Fensgate for a
You lived
year.
in Fensgate. Charles Gate was crazy. It was they content this the second Emerson College gave up that dorm, they contaminated it. Like it should have
Yeah.
been contaminated
My
20 years
mother lived in
prior.
Charlesgate when she went to BU.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? She was like, it was weird and like there were ghosts. I'm
There were
like,
ghosts.
same thing. Yeah.
There were absolutely ghosts, and there were all these hidden stairways,
It was a
and there
big
were all these
old hotel, right? I think it was originally a
crazy
hotel.
ballrooms and
Wow.
stuff that you would just stumble into. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was
The f- the
incredible.
Fensgate Ballroom, my freshman year, I lived in Fensgate, the Fensgate Ballroom, Parents' Weekend, don't ask me why, the Dead Kennedys played in the
So many
Fensgate
people have.
Ballroom.
So many people talk about that show at Emerson. It's like a famous show.
And I threw my bra on the stage for some reason. I'm sure I was like out of my mind. And there was, because there was Parents' Weekend, they had it set up also for some other event. And then these like huge, like, like 10-foot palm trees, fully grown palms in these big giant pots right by the front door. And me and this kid who I went to the show with, his name was Adam, we both looked at each other on the way out and went, grab it. And we ran across the street with the palm tree and brought it into his dorm, which is that other little brownstone that JJ lived in right across from Fensgate. I don't remember the number. And we stole the palm and I gave it to him like I don't want it. I'll kill it. And there was a big thing where they were going around and do you have the palm tree? And it cost a bunch of money. And then we sent I think I still have it somewhere. We sent like a ransom note, with the letters cut out.
Oh, how
Like
great.
we have the palm, you need to book the Dead Kennedys again and you'll get it back. Or I don't know, it's something it's really stupid, college freshman shit, but it was a great show. And it was open to the public, I guess, because a
I
lot of
think I
people saw
only
it.
threw my bra onto a stage once, and you won't even believe who the band was.
The Cramps.
No, that would have made sense. Steve, you want to guess?
You think I might know who the band is?
Yeah, just guess.
Uh,
The Outlets.
Wilco.
That would have been weird. You know what? That would have been almost as weird as the band that it was. The fucking Turbines.
The Turbine.
Well, they were a very sexy band, I gotta say. They were hot, smoking hot.
All right, hold
Um,
on. Before we go crazy, how did you two meet each other?
Well, I kind of have traced it back to D&D. There was a
which is Dungeons and Dragons, by the way.
yeah, which is kind of funny because right now I'm like obsessed with Stranger Things because I didn't
I
watch it
just
when it
watched it
came
all. It
on.
was great.
It's so good, right? I'm in the
Yeah.
fourth season. I'm loving it. Um, so we just found out the origins of Vecna last night. But anyway, so there was this rock and roll D&D game, and there was this woman, Sandy Wright, who did Metrowave after Carmelita and before me.
She was the program director, I think, for a year or two. Also.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah, of
Really?
ERS.
Yeah, but I always thought like Brad, I always thought of Brad being the, and it doesn't matter. Anyway,
No.
she kind of took me under her wing, and which was weird too because I ultimately ended up replacing her at Metrowave, but also she wasn't an Emerson student. There was like this thing where these non-Emerson people were on the air and they shouldn't have been anyway, so I think
That sounds like every college radio station in Boston, by the way.
she kind of got found out. But she took me under her wing, and like we talked about last time, Steve, you really had to pay your dues to get a show on WERS. So I was doing all of this other stuff. I was like writing the news. I was working the board. I was like just doing all this, anything I could to eventually get a land.
Yeah.
I was a paid engineer for work study.
Oh, there you go. I love
Emerson.
that.
I took like readings of the I don't Something stupid. Anyway.
Right, right, right. You had to take those
Yeah, I
readings. I
remember
know
that.
exactly what you're talking
The
about.
odometer or whatever it was called. I
Yeah.
had to do that too. Every
Yeah.
college radio
I
station.
got
That's
paid
so
for like
funny. I
sitting there and
totally
taking,
forgot about that.
yeah. It was
So
You
that's
got
old
anyway,
school.
paid?
Anyway.
You
so
got paid
Sandy
to
was
do it.
part of this rock and roll Dungeons and Dragons game, and Julie, she hosted it with her boyfriend at the time, JJ, who's a documentary maker now. Um, but so Rick Page, who had booked
Uh
Conrad's?
TT. No,
No,
not
Johnny
TT.
D's.
Johnny D, sorry.
Johnny
Yeah.
D's in Cambridge. Um, but this was before that.
Alston.
Austin. Yeah, thank you. He was the dungeon master, but it was this crazy like rock and roll D&D game. So anyway, I got dragged to this game. It was at Julie's house. It was so much fun. It was all these really colorful people. Again, this was me getting acclimated to this new scene in Boston. I was the youngest
Were
person
you
there, and
you were a
blah 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 blah
freshman
blah. I was
She's
a
a year
I was
younger.
a
and Julie was a sophomore? Okay, I'm just trying
no,
to.
no, I think I was a I think it was the beginning of my sophomore year.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, I think
We didn't meet until your sophomore year?
I don't think
so
I got
83,
82.
80. Oh, 82. Yeah, you said you got there September 81. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think I met any of you guys. No, that's not right. You're right. You're right. No, it was my freshman year. It was my
Yeah.
freshman year. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Anyway, sorry. Time, you know, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
Seemed
that's
like
how we
yeah.
met. There was this D&D game, and I remember that Julie wanted somebody to cut her hair, and I did not volunteer because I'm not that girl that can like just and make your hair look good, and I knew that. But she insisted, so I gave her a haircut, and it was terrible, but she didn't care. So I loved her for that, and then we just became friends.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now, did you work it together at ERS
Oh
at some
yeah.
point?
Yeah, for sure.
We told you the Shredettes story.
Yeah.
Yes, you
They
did.
And we
were the
were
Stevettes.
yeah. Oh, now we're the Stevettes today, yes. Um,
Mhm.
well, everyone worked together all the time. It was a hangout, like it was it was home base for all the Emerson kids who, probably grew up on Kiss and the Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Yeah.
which kind of was that like let your freak flag fly high school experience. It's like all those kids, Um and we were also the Emerson portion of the Boston rock scene, whichever, genre it might be. We had Shred and Choke and myself. Debbie had Chain Link Fence. We're kind of a pop band, I would say, like kind of a power poppy band. Um, so that was the hangout. So yeah, we all filled in for each other. And something happened recently. I can't remember who he was or where it was because, again, time.
And memory. Yeah.
And my brain bleed. So I met someone fairly recently who was like, "Oh, wait a minute, you're Julie Chrysler." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I was at Emerson in the 1990s, and I used to follow your plays." And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I used to look through the library and look at the old stickers and look for you signing off on stuff because I know I always liked the stuff that you
You liked
played."
your taste.
And I was like, "That's really cool.
That
Thank
is
That
you."
is
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
That's so
So,
cool.
You know,
That's
while
right.
we're on
We had to
Emerson,
like initial
yeah,
after
you
we
had to
played
initial the play.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
while
right.
we're talking about Emerson, we need to deal with this right away rather than wait. Um, this is an
Immediately.
article. If you're listening, you'll have to go on YouTube to look at it. It's an article I found in the Noise about Debbie Southwood Smith, written by Evie Altman. I don't have the date
Who's
on me.
that?
I must have cut this out of an old noise when after I met you at we started working together at Giant because I can't think of any
Funny.
other reason other than maybe I had this secret crush on you or something when
I
you were
guess.
Debbie. I don't know
Not
why,
so
but I
secret. I don't
saved it.
know. That's
But
so
there's some
funny.
really interesting things in here that I wanted to ask Metro Wave Debbie about.
Okay,
Um,
let's
uh,
go.
it
Shoot.
starts with, I think, Shred at the beginning talks about, he called it Debbie's gossip column. That's what he called Metro Wave. And this is what Debbie said about that. She said, I do hear plenty of things every week just because of what I do. Lots of people are pretty lucky that half of what I hear can't be said on the air.
That's for sure.
So what are you going to tell us that we didn't hear?
So, well,
Is this gossip in the terms of who's sleeping with who and stuff like
Probably.
that? Or
probably. Okay. So, just to begin with, the thing about going to Emerson College was that we didn't go to Emerson College. We went to we went to
Boston.
Boston. Yeah. I mean, the school was right. There wasn't a campus. The campus was Boston. The the radio station was on Commonwealth Avenue. We didn't, even like if you lived in a dorm your first year, you didn't live in a dorm after your first year. You lived in an apartment, right? We lived in apartments all over the place.
Correction, Beacon Street. Go ahead.
Right. Yes. Oh, Beacon Street. Yes. Thank you. But like Beacon and Com
Right.
right there. Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
Um, and and my whole, I don't even remember any of the classes I took. I couldn't tell you anything about anything. I don't remember any of the professors. I don't remember
me
any of that
either?
stuff. What I remember is going to the Rat and going to Jumpin' Jack Flash and going to the channel, which we need to talk about more later. Um, and working with bands and doing the radio shows, and because remember I was on Nightclub and Metro Wave. So
Did you have
and
Dennis Leary as a teacher? Because
I
I remember
did.
him.
I did. I had him
Yeah.
as he was my creative writing teacher. I
Yeah.
wrote
Dennis
a paper on
Leary?
the Rolling Stones. I got
Hmm.
an A plus. I still have it.
Wait a minute, the
I
Dennis
got,
Leary?
Yeah. He was
yeah,
a professor, or he was an adjunct, I
he was an
think. He
adjunct.
came to my
Wow.
Passover Seder one year and like was like, "Are you guys worshiping the devil?" I'm like, "No, we're Jewish. What the hell's wrong with you?"
So I write a paper on the Stones. He gives me an A plus on it. He says, "Can I hold on to it for a couple weeks?" I said, "Sure." He gives it back to me. It's got wine stains on it, cigarette burns on it, fingerprint smudges. He's like, "I'm sorry, I just wanted some of my friends to read it. It's so good."
That's
Wow.
funny.
And then he wrote on it, "Sorry about the mess, but you know us Stones fans have sticky fingers."
Very cute.
Wow, that is really cool. I met Dennis Leary once. He's because he's from Worcester, you know. He was a cool guy, man. I liked him. Okay,
Yeah,
a couple
yeah,
more
he does.
things.
He does a lot of stuff with Charlie Roth. Remember Charlie
Oh
Julie,
yeah.
New York? Yeah, Charlie's like his music director. He
I
does
didn't
like a
know
big,
that.
yeah, he does. Dennis does like a big benefit show for
Yeah.
something or other every year, and Charlie, it's like his band and music
Oh, that's
director.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what were we
Steve, what were
talking
you going to
about?
say?
I'm just going to throw a couple. You don't
Oh,
even have
Yeah.
to.
so the gossip. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm hanging around with Lily Dennison. I'm hanging around with Julie. I'm hanging around with the Dogmatics. I'm hanging around
Johnny Angel, who was the
with Johnny.
biggest gossip in Boston.
I, Dickie Barrett was always around. Like we knew everything.
Billy was a big gossip too.
Billy was a gossip. We knew everything. We knew. So it was also about who was going to put a record out on Ace of Heart or Throbbing Lobster or who was in the studio or who was going on tour. But it was also about who was dating who and what happened at such and such's party and blah, blah, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean we were all in each other's business, and I kiss and tell.
Oh, I want to
Actually,
hear some of that. But
wait. Oh, you cannot let me get off the show without telling you about the boy box. So just
the boy, what?
The boy box.
The boy box. Is
Box?
that like the Rolodex in the at the rat? Oh, don't worry, we're going to talk about that. But a
Okay.
couple more things from this article because I was intrigued when I read this 40 years later. You also said you said this was really good. You said, I do think Boston is one of the hardest cities to get popular in and one of the hardest to break out of. That was so true back then, but it's still kind of true now, isn't it?
Yeah, and which was so weird because we had everything that you needed at that time, which was
Mm.
we had radio, we had record stores, um, we had nightclubs. Like I don't under that was kind of the
And we had
funny part.
A&R people sniffing around
I
too.
I don't know if you experienced this at Enigma, Julie, but I did. People in LA couldn't stand that there were so many Boston bands. They're like, everybody wants to sign Boston bands. Boston. There was real negativity,
There
and
was, there was,
I,
and
I,
Well,
I,
Boston had that one moment after we had all left, when Danny Goldberg was the president of Atlantic and Janet Billings was at Atlantic, and the Lemonheads got signed, and the Throwing Muses got signed, and the Pixies got signed, and that was that moment of Boston. But that was those bands came after, like the Dogmatics, the Del Fuegos, like they were the setup for those bands to jump off.
and you did say in the article that I do really think that Boston is a garage rock city, and you know what? It was
for
then, it
sure.
is now. It's
Yeah.
always going to be. And the one last thing I wanted to ask you about was I found this kind of interesting. Quote, I was chain link fences manager, but I didn't really like the job. I thought that was funny because I managed bands too, and who likes being a manager? Debbie
But
did. I mean, Julie did too. What didn't you like about the job back then?
I just didn't like management. I never did like management. That's people to this day say when you got out of A&R, why didn't you get into management? I think you asked me that on the last
You
one.
were kind of managing bands, though. When you're in the studio at Monster Magnet, you have to manage them, kind of, right?
Different though.
Well, I think um I think if I had like I said this the last time, I think if I had an umbrella, I would be okay. If I was working with Jonathan Daniel, if I was working with Danny Goldberg, if I was something
Partner.
like if I had like an umbrella system,
Mm.
I would be fine. But on my own, I wasn't going to be fine. I'm just not. I'm just not built that way. So Julie is a lot more entrepreneurial than I am. I kind of need a system. And if I have a system, I'll fucking kill. Like I had A&M, I had Interscope. When you put me into a system that works, I'm a killer. But without that, I fall apart.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's really interesting.
you also have to have a kind of I won't can I call it like a maternal thing? I mean,
And I
it,
don't have that.
Or a psychology degree, too, you also
Well,
need.
yeah.
that I'm good at.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's such a kind of weird mix of like knowing the business, but also like being a caregiver and also like there's there's a lot of that. And you have to be willing to like it's like having a kid. It really is. It's like you have to know when to push, know when to pull back, when to pull back, know when to give them their freedom, know when to tell them, no, 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 you can't do that, and so it's and but then you also have to deal with the outside world,
I bet you guys would agree with this because I used to say this all the time. Whenever I signed a band or I worked with a band, I had to love the band. You have to be in love with it.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, it's really hard to work with someone if you don't love them. I've tried that and it doesn't work.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I did too. I tried managing a couple artists and I thought they were very good, but I didn't love them and I wouldn't have killed for them. And the artists that I signed, that yeah, I would have done anything for. So I think that's absolutely positively
Did you
true.
Julie, were you managing at the same time that
I
Debbie
got
was
Julie
managing?
into managing. You want to hear
You
that
did?
story? Yeah.
That's
So
what
so
she
I
says, but I don't remember it.
I do. I remember this perfectly. So I just want to say one last thing about that article, Steve, is that I was so blown when you sent it to me, that article. It was the year I graduated, so it would have been 85. Um, I was so blown away by my confidence.
Yeah,
I
you.
had so much confidence, and I loved I was like, oh, that, that confidence, it explains a lot. It explains a lot about how I was able to do what I did. And
Confidence of youth.
yeah, yeah, I really, when I read it, I was like, oh wow, where did that girl go? Like I
Yeah,
thought
it's
Yeah.
right
funny
off the
because,
bat.
I met you basically about, I guess, 2 years after this must have come out. Was it late 87 or 88 or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. I moved to
And
New
you
York
didn't look
City.
like this. You looked a lot different. Your appearance changed a lot, didn't it, as the
Well, I
time went on?
lost my baby fat. I kind of lost my baby fat late in life. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I wasn't thinking that, but you kind of
Well, also
look.
the hair, it's just a lot of different,
So,
very
so
different.
what was the first band that you managed, Julie, that Debbie got you
So,
into
so
managing?
here's what happened. Julie went to Europe for a semester. How long were you in Europe?
You mean when I was at Emerson? Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
semester. Yeah, we went to France. It was like a study abroad kind of thing.
She got followed by a vampire.
Oh God, that's a book.
Yeah, it's a
Did he
crazy story.
drink your blood?
No, but he spoke to me in French, which I don't understand, but that's weird.
It's a weird story. Anyway, um, she came back, and I think she was feeling like she didn't have anything. Her relationship with JJ was breaking up. She was moving out of that apartment. She was, at that point, probably didn't have a radio show at ERS, had to like re audition and everything because
Right.
she'd been out of it for a while. Um, and while she was gone, I had started managing chain link fence. And so I said to her, why don't you manage a band? And I actually said, why don't you manage the Dogmatics?
Wow.
Um, and she did.
Yeah. Well, and as far as loving a band, I thought they were great. I thought that they, for various reasons, but you would at every show that Dogmatics played, I would be in the audience. Like I would be enjoying the show. You know what I mean? Um, I was their worst critic, I'd be like, Paul, can you not have that extra long cord so you're standing at the urinal while playing the bass, and the rest of the band is on stage because,
Did that really happen?
oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
And like we were at one show once and they had cordless guitars, they had, wireless whatever and I'm like never again. That no that they're like we should get these for now. And I'm like no because they disappear.
Like during the show.
Yeah. I'd be like where's the band? Where's Peter? Where's Paul? Like, what the hell's going on? One of them's up like on a catwalk above I'm like, no, we're not doing that again. So, but yeah,
I mean, I know you ended up managing the FU Straw Dogs because we put that deal together,
yeah,
but were there other bands too?
the, the I want to say the Cave Dogs, but that's not right. The Bags.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that's a good one. You guys have a good resume,
Yeah.
definitely in terms of. Well, I mean, Chain Link Fence, I thought was a really good band. I don't
They
know
were
what the hell happened.
fun.
I
I
don't know
thought
what
they were
happened to
really
him.
fun.
It was the good-looking Barrett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Sorry, Dickie.
Oh, Dickie's cute though.
yeah, he
Dickie
was
was cute.
Yeah, but
Um,
Billy Barrett, I remember being a
handsome. It
very
was the
handsome man.
handsome one.
Yes, very
Oh yeah,
handsome.
all the girls loved Billy Barrett. I mean, that kind of goes to that story that I was telling you guys the other day. There was I was hanging out with Billy one night. Julie got so wasted, and she was like like crawling wasted, like it was bad. It was really really bad and almost like a little scary. And he got very very mad at her. So he was kind of like yelling at her and like snap out of it. And so we decided that what we would do to sober her up was take her to a party, right? Because of course.
Genius.
Take the drunk girl to a party. That's good. I like
Yeah.
that.
I think it wasn't just alcohol. Like there was a lot going on with Julie that night. Uh so we go to this party that was thrown by 88.9 at night, which was the R&B show that came on right after uh nightclub on the weeknights. And it was all these like beautiful black people dancing great R&B music. And Billy gets out there on the dance floor and he's just like doing it, he's like Tom Cruise in that moment. And these black girls are loving him and they're dancing with him. And finally, one of them goes, Billy Barrett, you're too much man for one woman and not enough for two.
And the boys liked him too.
Debbie's really good for the sound bites. Okay, I want to segue a little bit into Boston bands for a second because I want to ask you guys about some of the bands that were big during your era and your thoughts on them. I want to start with the Neats because I always thought the Neats
Love
were
the
one of
Neats.
those bands that could have been REM, but REM was
That
REM
was
and they
my
weren't.
line. I said that in the last
Yeah, I
podcast.
love the
Yeah,
Neats. I used to
Okay, I'm
torture
stealing
Eric.
lines from Debbie and I didn't even
I
know it.
have good
Sorry.
ones. Yeah.
Yes,
I love torturing Eric. I actually, not Debbie, Randy Millman and I had a
Randy.
very short-lived business relationship, and we also wrote a gossip column for this fanzine called, what was it called now?
The
Bang, the Bang? I don't
Bang,
know.
bang, Rocco.
Bang. Yeah, Rocco. And it was called Two on the Floor. And
Wow, I love that.
yeah, and then we put out maybe three, and then I was just like, ugh, I can't do this anymore. But we it was really gossipy, and I was like, it was I had this go ongoing thing with Eric that he stole my scarf. I don't know why, but every time I saw him, even till like 20 years later, I'm like, give me that fucking scarf.
Sounds like a
So like,
Taylor Swift song all of a sudden. I don't know if you
is
guys get that line, but
yeah, that's right. And like we would just, we would she would write about who was the one she was Pete Mulford. I tortured Eric. But I loved that band. I also tortured Mark Flynn, who was in the Billy Goons and who was on NBR, I had a major crush on at the time, I believe. And uh
that's a whole nother segment.
that's a
Crushes. We'll get
whole
to
nother
that.
segment. Yeah, whole nother segment. But
Well, can I
yeah.
just say for the record that I had a huge crush on Eric Martin? Like a
Oh,
huge crush. It
so
was so
cute.
funny because I feel like for as much like dating and messing around that we all did over those years, I do remember that there were some bands and there were some musicians that felt like they were a little bit above
Yeah, they
kind
were.
of playing within that way. And
Mhm.
that was like David Minahan. That was Eric Martin. That was
That was not.
Jerry, let
no.
him come and
I was like, that was not Julie's boobs.
did you have a boob job or something, Julie? Jeez.
No,
My
but thank you.
gosh. Thank you.
They've
The
always been good like that.
The girls are still rocking. They're still rocking.
so you guys both liked Eric Martin. I love Eric
Even
Martin
I
Yeah.
too.
think like Dan Zanes, like those, yeah, I would say Eric, David
When
Minahan,
you said they were
Dan
a, what
Zanes.
did you mean that they wouldn't do the
No,
sleeping
it
around
was like they
stuff?
were like maybe a little older. They
They
approached
all
it
had
a little more
girlfriends.
professionally.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
they were kind of this like they were just on this other level
Yeah.
of
They weren't chowder heads. They weren't chowder heads. Let's put
They
it
weren't
like
the outlets, you
yeah,
know?
Oh,
right.
what a segue. I was
Yeah,
just
they
going to
weren't the
say, I
outlets.
was
They
just going
weren't the liars.
to,
Um,
Right,
I swear,
right.
Debbie, sometimes Debbie says the thing right before I'm ready to say it. And that's what I wanted to talk about next, the outlets, because there aren't there. I don't even. I love the outlets, obviously, since I
me
worked with them
too.
for so long, and both of them, Dave and Rick individually. What was it like? You knew them. You girls knew them before I really got to know them.
They
What
played
was
with the
that like?
Dogmatics a lot, so I knew them all pretty well. They were all really nice guys. I mean, like Walter is God. That was the saying, and it still is. You know, we called him Walter of God because at the time there was that movie out called Agnes of God. So we called
Yes.
him Walter of God. Um, and what's his name was in the band who I had a crush on at the time, Mike County, who was
Oh,
in the
so
band.
you're okay. So did you get into the band after Whitey? Was that, yeah, that was too early for you guys, wasn't it?
No, no, I remember Whitey being in the band.
Yeah, I do too.
I,
He was in the
yeah,
Blackjacks, right?
he was in the
Yes,
Blackjacks too.
they're
Yeah,
on the list.
yeah. Oh yeah. And the outlets played Debbie, remember we were talking about this, that 10 East 16th, 10 East 16th Street, 229 East 10th, where you lived and whatever, whatever.
Oh yeah.
The outlets stayed there
That's crazy.
at one point, or at least some of them. I know Walter did. I think everyone did just crash. It's a tiny little place, but still. And the Debbie was there and
You
Walter
were
was
in my old
there.
apartment too, Debbie?
Oh yeah,
Well,
I stayed there a lot.
yeah.
Wow.
And that night,
Julie and I were rehashing a bunch of the stories from there yesterday, actually.
you can look it up. I think you know what? It was during the new music seminar. I remember it. It was during the new music seminar, and for some reason the outlets, whatever, whatever. And that night, like early in the morning, New York had an earthquake. New York City. And I woke up and there's Walter like on the fold up bed and we both like kind of woke up and I went like, did the earth move for you too? Like he's like, yeah, I think it did. And then Debbie and I went to
Did you say you both were on the fold-up bed?
yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Um uh
I know I have this outlet story that I kind of want to tell, but I'm not going to tell, but I'll tell you
Uh-oh.
guys after we're recording.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's no
yeah,
fun, Debbie.
yeah.
I mean like there's a lot of outlet
There's a
stories.
lot of outlet
Yeah,
stories.
we all have those.
And yeah, and then Debbie and I, because I was in town, we went out to brunch with my parents,
Oh,
still high, so fucking hungover in like
so
it
hungover.
was at like Bloomingdale's or like Lord and Taylor or something. My mother's like, "Oh, you'll come, we'll have lunch and we'll go shopping, blah blah blah." And we sat down and I was like, I'll have an orange juice, a glass of water, a Diet Coke, some, like I was we
And
were
then I was like,
just
and I'll have what she's having.
yeah, I was like a freaking mess. But that was fun. A lot went on. That I don't know. I got everything mixed up, but then I get that mixed up with the Chelsea hotel night too, which I think was when they played at
Those,
Danceteria.
yeah, those New York new music seminar and CMJ things that I went to all of those, and everyone was like hungover the next day. It was
Oh
like
yeah.
we didn't sleep. We just
No,
went and saw rock and partied basically.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a ridiculous waste of money for labels to send you there, but they had to send you there
That
because it was
photo
a
that
thing
you
to do.
sent of me sleeping on someone's floor with my eyes half open, that was definitely during a New York
Yeah.
something. And
That
Oh,
I
I
was a
was
would have
still
seen
in,
that.
CMJ.
That sounds crazy.
I was at Enigma then too, because I
Yeah. No, yeah,
remember
we
So, so current outlet story would just be this that so I'm so broke right now and Julie has all these gifts for me and I don't have anything for her because I don't have any money. So I I went into my chat GBT. I said, "What do you do for your best friend when you're completely broke, but you want to give them a holiday gift?"
What
And
ChatGPT.
it
you
made
had to
this
use
whole list.
AI for this. Okay.
It made this whole list of I was like, we like to go to concerts and we like to go to the beach. That's what I told it. So it's like, oh, you can make a little gift bag with like everything had chapstick in it, like chapstick, hand sanitizer, like all this stuff for like festivals or whatever. The beach, like some chapstick and some sun lotion. And then it said a playlist. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make her a playlist. So I made her a playlist. And the song I kicked it off with was The Outlet's Best Friends.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
that's a
that's
great
really
song.
My
nice.
best friend is always.
Always near me, by me.
I
Okay, we're
think,
gonna move on here.
Hold on to me, hold on to me.
Del
so,
Fuegos.
I was never a fan. I
It's
was
getting
never a,
juicier.
I was never a fan.
Really?
Not really. I mean, I didn't think they were, I thought they were talented. I thought it just wasn't I don't know, just
I
wasn't my
love your
thing.
honesty.
It just wasn't my thing. Same thing with kind of Scruffy the cat. I never
Oh, I
really got
loved
it.
Scruffy.
I never got it.
But I like that Americana stuff.
Yeah, right. I mean, I like
Obviously,
some
you
of it.
started the whole Americana movement in the United
Well, isn't
States.
that kind of weird though that there was the Del Fuegos, there was Scruffy the Cat, that was happening before Uncle Tupelo, but like, and
We didn't
it's
call
not
it that.
too far off the same thing. I mean, I think the thing that Uncle Tupelo did that they didn't do was Uncle Tupelo embraced the like Stooges piece.
Yeah.
It was like we love Hank Williams, but we also love Iggy, and we're gonna marry these two
Yeah,
things.
I could see that for sure.
And that's maybe what those other bands weren't so much doing. I think that maybe a little bit of the thing with the Del Fuegos for us is that I mean, obviously Warren was very, very young when he was in the Del Fuegos, but Dan was older, Lily was older, their manager, and they could be a little snotty.
Yeah.
They could be a little bit like we we're
They're like the elder statesmen
they
of
were
the
the elder
scene,
statesmen.
you
Yeah.
know.
I get
And
Like
it.
I think
this
the
is how you.
Dogmatics felt that too, in a way, although they're friends. And Charlie Chesterman wrote King Size Cigarette, you know, which was the Dogmatics' first single. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just making that up.
Well, Charlie was scruffy. He wasn't Del
Oh,
Fuego.
right, right,
You
right, right.
you really confused me there for a second.
Like,
Um,
please.
it's okay. This is what happened.
The first time I mean, I had seen the Del Fuegos in Boston, but I saw them in '84 at Club Lingerie in LA. And that was when I realized, oh, okay, this band's gonna go somewhere. And they definitely had the one thing I do like about Lily and what she did was she had that mindset. We're going to sign with Slash Records, and that's what we're going to do. And they achieved their goal, you know.
That
But
was a
I can
long
Yeah,
understand.
time in
and I
coming,
don't
too.
mean to disparage Lily or
No.
any of those guys at all, because we were friends and we did all hang out. There was just, uh,
Age difference and
there's always a system, right? In any in any scene, there's your like
A hierarchy.
there's your hierarchy, or just your systems. And I'd say like uh, you know, people needed me because I had two radio shows and I did the local radio show. So even if they maybe didn't like me so much, they had to treat me nicely if they wanted me to play them, right? Um, so I had a little bit of power in that scene. I think if you had a radio show, you had a little bit of power in that scene if you were. So I don't know. Yeah.
it's true. I was the music director at a much smaller station than ERS, WDJM in Framingham. And whenever I went into town, I always had bands. They want to get airplay. Who doesn't want to get airplay,
Of
right?
course.
Even especially college radio back then. What about the Blackjacks?
Um,
All right, Julie, that's all you.
it's all me.
Well,
Um,
you know that Julie and Johnny Angel were roommates.
right.
No, I did. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
do
we
know
were
that.
roommates. He slept on the futon and he
Just
came,
roommates?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
for the most part.
I feel like I can ask Julie questions like that, and she'll give me the
For the
answer.
most part. I mean,
For the most part, okay. Now there's a
shit
little
happens.
hole.
But anyway,
Well, you know what? Julie kind of fell hard for Johnny for a
at
while,
the very
Whoa.
the
beginning,
beginning,
the
but by
very
the time
beginning,
they were roommates, she'd snapped out of it. Like
yeah.
she knew him so well that she was like, "Oh no."
Do you
Yeah,
guys both know each other's romantic histories very well?
I
Yeah,
would say so. Yeah,
yeah.
I would say so.
So
And
there's
yours
not
pretty
gonna
well too, Steve.
I
No,
said this to
you
Julie
know mine
yesterday. I
pretty
said,
well?
no, I'm joking. I
what
only know one.
Oh, wait a second. You know that photograph of it was once again in New York of Steve with three Enigma girls on the
Yep.
bed?
Me, Eileen, and Marianne.
I was
Marianne.
gonna say I only slept with one of those three, but Jesus Christ, that just gave it away in like 2 seconds. One's a lesbian and one's you. So I just outed myself.
Well, she was a good pick.
Yeah,
She's a
she's
lovely girl.
awesome. Awesome.
Um, so yeah, blackjack. So yeah, I live with Johnny. Actually, I met Johnny probably the first week I was in Boston. I went to Storyville. I walked in, he was there. I don't remember who we were seeing, and we started talking, and he just looked at me and said, you want to go back to your place? I went, okay. And that's how I met Johnny.
Wow. He was like the elder statesman for a lot of the younger bands because he recorded with the Dogmatics, as you know, and all
Right.
these other bands.
And he worked in the Hoodoo barbecue. I mean, come on. And if
I
that's not a
love.
pedigree, I don't know what
Yeah, I
is.
used to
Well,
love coming
okay.
into town and sitting in there all day long and watching and talking to every
Well,
musician in
and that's what
Boston.
A&R people used to do. That's what Michael Alago would do when he came to Boston. He would just sit in the Hoodoo Barbecue, right? That's where it all happened. And it's funny that we haven't really been talking about that too much.
What's your favorite? First of all, what was your memory of the Hoodoo jukebox? I'm going to ask that question because I have two that I remember constantly playing over and over again. One, Goo Goo Muck.
Mm.
Two, Little Sister,
Oh,
Huh.
which the Dogmatics, did they ever play that? I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah,
those were the two I remember constantly hearing on that
I'm
jukebox.
getting confused now between that and the downtown Beirut jukebox, but Sonic Reducer, I swear every single time I would walk into a place, Sonic Reducer would come on. It
Such
oh,
a
was
that's
like
great
the
song.
funny.
most played song on any that I remember in those divey bars.
Debbie, were you with me and Shred when we sang upstairs at the Rat?
I don't remember
It
that.
was me. I thought it was me, Shred, and you.
What did we sing?
Red Rubber Ball. And Johnny
Oh,
played guitar.
I think
Love?
so.
Love, right?
Uh, I
Red. Oh, no, 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 no.
no, uh, I can't remember.
Yeah, I know the song. It's one of those 60s
Oh,
garage bands.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, I should have known you bid me farewell. Actually, I learned that song in camp, in Girl Scout camp in the 70s. Um,
Why would we have done such a thing, though?
I don't know, but it was when the upstairs at the Rat was really rocking. Like that was the thing. Everyone did the acoustic upstairs.
Right.
Tommy Johnston booked it.
Yeah.
Tommy
Um,
Johnston.
yeah, who's a love, such a nice guy. And yeah, and so I don't know, we did it, but it was pretty awful, I think. But anyway, thank
What?
God, no cell phones. Whew,
Oh,
that would have been ugly.
When Tommy was managing Buffalo Tom, I just like to throw random stories out there, forgive me. Teresa Ensenat came to work at A&M. Do you know, you must know
of
Teresa
course.
too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys were in the same A&R department. But I think I was still in LA. This was before I moved to New York. I was still in LA. And she said she had a meeting with a Boston band. And she said, "You're from Boston. Will you come to the meeting with me? Because I really want to sign this band." And it was Buffalo Tom. And Tommy was there. And I did know Tommy because I was a big Boys Life fan, and I was going to mention
Mhm.
Boys Life. And John Surratt and Tommy used to hang around a lot together, I believe, back in those days. And I think that's how I met Tommy. Did you
Oh, that
guys like
sounds.
Boys Life? Because I used to love Boys Life.
I
I
don't
don't really
remember seeing
remember
them a
them.
lot. I remember they put out a record, didn't they?
Yeah, EP. Yeah.
Yeah, the EP. I remember playing it, but honestly, I can't remember much. Um, but
You didn't know them either, Debbie?
I don't remember what they sound like.
me neither. I don't remember either.
They could have been a little before you guys, actually. I think
Yeah, I
they,
think they were.
yeah.
I think they were. Johnny once. Oh my God, he was such a slob that I actually had the the gas on my stove turned off so he wouldn't cook anymore. And he was like, "What's with the stove?" I'm like, "It's broken." It was broken for like 2 years. I'm like, "It's
You had the
broken."
gas turned off.
Yeah, I just didn't want to deal with it. I just didn't want to deal with it. He once now he once told me that there was a Chrysler curse. Now, because what do Paul O'Halloran, Bones from the FUs, Dave Blood, and Rafe from the Blackjacks all have in
Wow.
common? They're all dead.
Wow.
Um, so
I didn't know that Rafe died.
oh yeah, he died in a really bad car accident.
Oh,
Really, really bad. And he was such a sweet guy. He had totally not what he looked like. Like he was really mild-mannered, a really soft voice. And he had a girlfriend, I think, that OD'd too. And he just was kind of sad. But Rafe was like suffering because of his girlfriend died and whatever. And John like had this idea. He's like, "I'm bringing Rafe over. I want you to make him feel better." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "You know what it means." I'm like, "John, give me a break."
like
What?
pimping you out to him?
Yeah, like pimping me out to
What a
Rafe.
roommate.
I'm like, just bring him over. So he comes over. We're smoking cigarettes and we're talking, and he's petrified. He's so super shy and whatever. And I go, "Listen, Rafe," I said, "you want to play cards?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." And we played war, like double war. And I'm like, and John's like, "How'd it go?" I'm like, "It went great. Don't worry about it." Like it was like the hooker, like the guy who goes to the hooker and he goes, "I just want to talk." It was like that. But I just thought that was so funny.
Um,
He was such a character, John. He called me, oh, he was the shark and I was the crocodile. Oh
Crocodile,
man,
Crocky. He called you
Crocky.
Crocky.
I haven't
oh,
spoken to him in a long time.
Uh, we um we communicate over Facebook, sometimes Facebook Messenger. He's really into fitness.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so we talk about that a lot.
yeah.
Um,
his show, he was on the show and he was really interesting. He had a lot of really interesting things to say.
I'm
well, the
That's
sure he
thing
what,
that
did.
he also had in common with me and Julie was he had spent also years in the New York scene because he had there was like a Ramones affiliation and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
his
So
girlfriend married uh
Dee Dee,
no, not Dee Dee. Uh oh my God, Johnny.
jo
really?
Johnny, that's
Wow.
right, not Dee Dee. Who would what? Yeah.
Yeah, Dee
Um,
Dee.
I think unless there's another band that you guys wanted to talk about from that, I was going to ask you about the hardcore bands like Gangrene and SSD and Jerry's Kids. And did you guys hang out with any of them? Or did we heard the Choke story, but was there
I
more?
went and saw them a lot. But I didn't really, that scene was very it was very boy driven. There weren't a lot. I mean, I know that Al's wife was around. But
Nancy.
yeah, Nancy. It just really wasn't a girl scene, even though, whatever. So not really. I know I saw a lot of Gangrene shows. They always liked the Dogmatics. The Dogmatics always liked them.
Well,
Um,
I think okay, and we talked about this a little bit in the last one, Steve, that, just the fact that I dated Curtis for like a year, and then we just ended up being very, very good friends. Um, I was around a lot of the hardcore acts, and then also, and I do want to talk about the channel for a minute as well. But I worked at the channel for many years. I ended up doing an internship with David Alexander there, he was the the head of promote. He did like the club's promotion publicity stuff,
Mhm.
and then Warren Scott was the booker. And I want to talk about that in a second. But Warren then hired me to do a lot of the Sunday matinee shows. And I booked the Misfits and I booked the Bad Brains. I booked some great shows. Um, and then um, and then I ended up DJing there. And then ultimately, after I graduated college and I wanted to stay in Boston, I had to find a like good money job. I ended up cocktail waitressing there for a while until I ended up at MCA in Boston as a secretary, and that kind of started my whole thing. But so I was like definitely affiliated with the channel for a long period of time, and that also meant that I could get into all the shows free. So, and the shows there were, the Cramps. I remember you got to ask Curtis about the Cramps show.
I remember a couple of Cramp shows there.
Do you remember the Cramps show that like Curtis got on stage with Lux Interior and like I think Lux like ripped Curtis's shirt
Shirt
off.
off, and then Lux ended up, he always ended up naked at every show, anyway,
Right. And
Lux.
then
So,
like and Curtis got launched into the crowd. Anyway, it was crazy. It was like this beautiful show. Um so a lot of hardcore, but also one of the points I wanted to make was that the scenes weren't separated. It wasn't like the hardcore bands are over here and the garage rock bands are over here and the art rock bands are over here. No, you would have a bill that would be like SSD, the Zulus, the Dogmatics. Like you could put all of those things.
you could really
I love
compliment
that.
Julie Farman for that, because that was really her rat booking that did that. I feel like getting everybody in there because it was smart. I mean, you'd get a little bit of people from each scene.
There
Um,
was a lot of crossover because look at the outlets Knock Me Down. All the hardcore kids love that song. That was
yeah,
like their favorite song. And the outlets weren't a hardcore band, but they had
yeah,
that one song, that
right.
they,
But look at the replacements. The first EP, Kids Don't Follow. That's hardcore.
yeah,
Yeah.
Look at Husker Du. That was
They both of
hardcore.
those bands changed a lot as they progressed. But
absolutely.
so did the Beastie Boys, right? So,
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
do you
So
remember the
the
Beastie Boys playing in Boston when they
Of
were
course.
a hardcore band?
With Kate on drums.
Yeah, it was some loft party. I don't remember where. Maybe in Jamaica Plain or something. I don't know.
And they
bef
also played the channel.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
No,
talk,
no, I'm sorry, they didn't. They played the Rat. I saw them at the Rat.
you saw the
Yeah.
Beastie Boys at the Rat.
Yeah, with Kate
Wow,
on drums. Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I
cool.
I don't remember the rat show, but I remember like maybe it was an after party or but I remember them in a very small, hot, densely packed place. Yeah.
I want to go back to the Rat, but Debbie, finish up with you were going to mention something about Warren and the channel.
Well,
I
actually,
didn't
you
get to
guys
read
talk.
that message. I looked
Yeah,
at
you know
it.
what? I'm gonna read it. I just want to pull it up. So you guys talk about something for a second, and then I just have to look for it.
All right,
Okay,
I'm
I
gonna
know what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be hard for Debbie to concentrate when we talk about this. The Rolodex at the
the
Rat.
Rolodex.
Because
So,
you told me about this, and then Debbie and I talked about it. And I've told so many people that story, and they absolutely, especially the guys in the Boston bands, they
of
all want to
course,
know about the Rolodex.
that's hysterical. Well, me and I worked at the Rat. I don't know what I did there. I guess I helped Julie, but I don't know. I was always there. I was in the office, and we just hung out a lot. And we were in the office one day and we were just talking about different guys. And I was like, you know, I said, we saw some kind of rating. Like it was like rate, it was like something in like a fashion magazine, like rate your boyfriend's best assets or something like that. Like one of those, like, oh no, it was Cosmo. And it was like one of those quizzes they used to do in Cosmo. Um, and because Julie was really into her magazines. And I was I said we should do a Boston rock like quiz. And she's like, yeah, let's rate the guys that we've been with. I'm like, Sounds good. So she went to Jimmy Harold's office. She got an old Rolodex and we started filling it out. And we would do a couple and then like we hid it in the drop ceiling of the rat of Julie's office in the rat. So, because it was top secret, right? Like, I don't know who the hell we were going to show it to. I don't know if we ever showed it to anyone. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't.
Where
But
is it?
I
I
know
don't know.
what
In my head, I pictured them like renovating the rat,
and
and
it
like
falling out of the
it
ceiling.
falling out and someone being like, "Oh, what's this about?" Like Johnny Angels, whatever, lasting
Left
power or
bruises, he would bite.
what?
He would bite. He
Oh, he
left
was a biter. Yeah.
bruises. Yeah, I hated that.
Johnny Angel is a biter?
Oof.
Mhm.
How do you
Um,
know that, Debbie?
we know everything about everyone.
We know everything about everyone.
Um, so yeah, so we did our rating system and we had like different categories, um, like lasting power, uh, of
Oh,
course,
should have
like
had like, I wonder
Uh,
who the best kisser
Can
was.
we at least get
I
some
think we
names,
had that too.
please? Like who's get the high ratings? We need to know. The guys need to know this.
Actually, the highest rating that I had was a guy that probably nobody even knows, but he was in what was that band? Celebrity Skin? Was that
Oh,
it?
I remember that band, but I don't remember the guys in the band.
Yeah, I can't even remember his name. Oh my God, but he was good. And his name was Rick. I want to say his name was Rick Rondeau. Rick Rondeau.
That's his
Rick,
name?
what a great name.
Yeah.
Rick Rondo, a 70-something-year-old guy out there. Rick
Yeah,
Rondo's
right.
like, whoa, she liked
Rick
my dick.
Rondo!
If
She
he's
really
even
liked
if
my
he's even
dick. She
Two
said
thumbs
it.
up.
if he's even alive, who knows? But they know who they are.
Was there a lot of cross collateralization going on here? I mean,
Well,
Debbie kind
me
of
and Julie had different tastes, so we had different sides of the, you know.
did anyone else contribute to the
Well,
Rolodex?
I'm gonna tell you, like,
I don't think so.
so I don't know if we talked, like, Billy Barrett from Chain Link Fence was my boyfriend.
Right,
Did you
right.
know that,
Yeah,
Steve?
we know that.
Okay. Um, but he cheated on me with everyone.
Not me.
Oh boy.
And I know, actually, not, but Julie, you'd have to hear you. The thing with Julie was that, like, all these other women would go to Julie and say, like, oh, he's so gorgeous. And
I'd
she'd
be
say,
like, don't
yeah.
do it.
And he'll cheat on you, and
So
cheat on
Julie,
Debbie, but he'll always go back to Debbie. So just know that, you
Right.
know.
so did
Um,
Julie give you the information that he was cheating? Is that how you
Well,
found
I
out?
always knew. I'm just like you said, like I say things before I say things you're about to say because I'm very, very, very intuitive. So I would always know. And then he would just do shit like he'd call me from like girls' apartments to say like good night and I love you before he was gonna
Oh,
cheat on me.
unbelievable.
It
Wow,
was
we
Unbelievable.
really threw
it
Billy
was a
Barrett under
whole
the bus.
twisted, we were so young.
The scene was, yeah. I mean, like, you look at kids today and they're like, oh, talking about hook it up, hook it up, hook it up. And, you're like, oh, and I'm like, oh my God, you have no idea. I mean,
And I think like that speaks to how incestuous it was. You
sure,
know,
for
like you
sure.
kind of like, yeah, you knew your boyfriend was cheating on you, but you also knew like who he was with and where he was. And, it was just kind of like, I
Wa-
guess,
Was the Rolodex just you and Julie, or were there
I
other?
think, I don't, I want to say there was somebody else. I think, actually, I think my sister contributed.
huh,
Um, yeah, I think Amy might have contributed because she had a couple of good ones in there.
okay.
I don't think Debbie
No one
did.
was good as Rick Rondell from the
Rick Rondo.
Celebrity Skin, or whatever
That's
the
so
fuck his
good,
name
Julie.
was.
I
Was it
love that.
Celebrity Skin? I might have the wrong band name. I
I
don't know.
don't know. I thought there was a band called Celebrity
You're
There
Skin.
never
was, but
ever going
that
to
might
live
not
that
be it.
down.
But oh, yeah, 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 I'm gonna get myself in so much trouble.
Uh,
I'm not mentioning any more
yeah,
names.
you know what?
Oh,
You can
okay.
say as
Warren
much as
Scott, Warren Scott, Warren
Ron Scott.
Scott, October 28th, 2019. This is on Facebook. I worked at the channel from the very beginning when the club was just weeks old. When I started there, Harry Boris, the owner, and I used to share one phone. There was a partition that ran down three-quarters of the office we were in with a huge safe also, and the partition was about 4 feet high. It was there that we positioned the phone between us. His desk was on one side and mine on the other. And when Harry wasn't on that one phone, I would use it and vice versa. Imagine that. Soon after, we built new offices on the opposite side of the club. That I remember those offices.
I remember them building them.
I finally got my own office or office space. From there, the channel was one of the very first clubs to subscribe to the new live entertainment business publication Polestar, blah, 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 blah. Um, Contrary, this is what's interesting because I really want to know what's going on with this. Contrary to what you may be seeing and viewing nowadays, I booked almost every single headliner, with a few exceptions, that played that venue from the very beginning. My first show when I was on property was Johnny Thunders. He threw his microphone into the audience, and when he wound back the cable back to the stage, the microphone was gone. I love that. Uh, yes, I booked all the talent there, headliners and opening acts. Sometimes Harry would come into my office and say, Warren, is so and so date open? Do me a favor and hold it for Black Uhuru or someone else. Now, I remember Harry was a very big reggae guy.
Mhm.
So, and the channel, I saw uh, it was incredible reggae shows at the
I remember
channel.
Yellow Man
Yeah.
there.
Yellow Man was incredible.
So good. So
Um,
good.
Peter
Tosh.
Posh
Pete Tot. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
at the channel, but
I
the
saw a
Yellow
lot of
Man
reggae there
show was
too. I
really one
forgot
of the
about that.
best ones, right? And that
Yeah.
was Harry. Um, Harry gave the job of booking the opening acts to someone else. My good buddy David Mars was one of those bookers. Now, I don't remember David Mars, but his name keeps popping up on this post. But I did book all, if not most, of the bands there. Um, he mentions having to take a couple sabbaticals, which, you know, there was a lot of, it was a nightclub, right? There was stuff going on. Um, I recently read that someone else booked the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Cramps, which we were just talking about that show, Iggy Pop, the Divinals. That is not true. I booked those acts into the channel. The reason I bring this up is because it happened and I made relationships with people back then that I still have to this day, and I don't want them or you to be misguided. Now,
Someone said something he didn't like.
apparently somebody started taking
Credit.
credit for his bookings, right? Now, Warren, he was an asshole,
Ugh.
but he
Major league.
he booked amazing shows there. I mean, I remember he booked Spinal Tap. Spinal Tap
Yeah.
did three
I
shows.
was at that show too
Yep.
with Johnny. Yeah.
Spinal with John. I brought John. I brought you guys because
Yep.
my friend Ellen from high school came to town because she was dating their road manager, who is the guy who handles all the live talent for SNL. Speedy. Speedy. She was dating Speedy.
I have a picture, which I'm sure Johnny's gonna want if he ever watches this. Maybe I'll find it for him, of Johnny with Nigel Tufnell
Wow.
that we took at that. It's like a Polaroid, actually, if I'm not
Wow.
mistaken.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think Ellen might have some of those as well. Johnny was kind of a pain in the ass that night because he like wanted to go knock on their hotel room doors and stuff like that. Like he was really kind of out of control about the whole thing. Um, but the Charlie Watts Orchestra, um, uh, the Cramps, Echo and the Bunnymen, like
I saw Echo and the Bunnymen at the channel.
that was a beautiful
I
show,
feel
Yep.
wasn't
like I
it?
saw them at the Orpheum. That must have been later.
Later.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible, really incredible shows. So I shared this post with you guys because for whatever reasons, and I think it's because Carmelita, who was probably the most famous person to have ever done Metro Wave, or like she made the show famous. Um, she somehow stumbled on it and commented on it. So now there's all that. So now, because that was written in 2019, but now 2025, 26, people are starting to comment on it again.
That's weird.
But
Yeah.
but the thing is that there's 135 comments on this, but it's all of these Boston people coming out of the woodworks
Hmm.
talking about shows that they saw at the channel. So it's a really incredible piece of like running history that I
Yeah.
don't even think Warren Scott is aware is still active and going.
I thought
Yeah,
you were
I
going to
don't think
call
so.
somebody out, and that's why you were telling us the story. Someone who was
I don't,
bullshitting.
it had to have been somebody that worked at the channel.
Well,
So,
I thought maybe you would know who was taking credit for the shows, Steve.
I don't. I knew Warren Scott because I used to talk to him from LA, and plus the neighborhoods, the two biggest uh release shows they did were both at the channel, and the one with for A&M for not A&M Third Stone Atlantic, Cheap Trick showed up and jammed them. I don't know if you guys were around. This
I
was
don't remember that. Nah,
1991, but
no.
I came in town for that, and that was amazing. And both they packed the channel, and but I saw a lot of good other bands there too, but they were mostly before that. They were in like 81 and 82 when I was going there a lot.
I mean,
But
I saw a lot of good things at the Paradise too, but you know what I'm thinking, Debbie? Actually, I have to say this. I saw Iggy Pop whip it out at the Paradise the same night that John Lennon died.
Oh, wow.
December
And
8th, 1980.
I have a ticket stub. I was a freshman. I have a ticket stub somewhere. Yeah, that was the night I met JJ actually. So yeah. Anyway, Cindy, what was her name? Something with the B.
You mentioned it and I don't
She
remember.
was she worked at the channel too. And I worked there. I was an intern there for a short period of time. She was the guitarist, I guess, for Lizzie Borden and the Axes, right?
Okay.
Oh,
Not Lizzie Borden Metal Blade, but Lizzie Borden and the Axes, right? Um, and she used to book stuff too. And maybe it was her. I
Oh,
don't know. I can't remember what her, or maybe it was Dave Alexander. I don't
I
know.
don't think David would do that.
Do that. Yeah.
but a lot of
Anyway,
people have come out and said that they like Nancy Barile talks about how she brought Minor Threat to Boston all the time. So you could say that he could say he booked all the shows, but how could he book the shows when so other people were bringing, yeah, they were bringing him the bands. Minor
right.
Threat,
Right. I
Nancy
mean, what
brought to
does booking
Boston.
the show mean? Does that mean you hand them the contract and they sign it, or does it mean,
I don't
right?
know why he would make a big deal out of
It
something like
sounds,
that.
I know, because
very Warren.
It doesn't
I
sound
know,
like
because
it's not like
I
when you
know that I did book some of the hardcore, like I
yeah,
booked
you've said that before
Bad
too.
Brains
And
and the
it's like when
Misfits.
you sign a band, a lot of people get credit for signing the band because they were the first one that found the band and brought it
Right.
in. Like we talked about this before. Like Emily Kay is the one that found Monster Magnet, but
Right.
she wasn't the A&R guy. Was it Larry Hamby? It was
Hmm.
somebody else that was the A&R guy. So sometimes in a case like that, but booking clubs, I mean, that's impossible to
I know
like
it
get
just
credit
I don't
for.
know. The whole thing hit me wrong, but I will tell you a story about Cindy, who was lovely from the and I God, I can't I'll remember her name at some point. Uh she they Lizzie Borden and the Axis were famous. They were all gay. They were all lesbians. And she had an infamous affair with Joan Jett.
Hmm.
And they were, I guess, a couple for a while. And she showed me actual pictures of them, like in the rat bathroom, or like, what was the, what was the bar? It was the name of an Italian restaurant. Cantones, Cantones. Um,
Antones.
oh,
Right.
Cantones. Anyway,
Oh, wow.
we could talk for like 17 hours,
I
but
know, we
but
really could.
but Cindy had all these pictures of her and Joan Jett, like all like butched out, like in a toilet in the rat and stuff. And they had such a bad breakup that when Joan Jett got big, she had it written into her, rider or whatever, that Cindy or any member of Lizzie Borden and the Axis could not come into the show, could not be anywhere near the show.
Wow.
Interesting,
I
right?
knew another woman from a Boston band that slept with Joan Jett. I'm sure she slept with a lot of women all over the place, though.
Yep. She never
Um,
got me, dang.
um, did you guys have something else in your notes? Because I have one thing that I want to hit before we cut off
I got a
here.
shitload of things, so just
Well, we
do
haven't really
yours.
talked about stuff about this year, so I'd kind of like to
Yeah.
end.
Oh, that's a good
Steve, you do
idea.
your thing, and then let's just talk about some recent things.
Well, I know you're going to find this kind of strange that I'm going to ask you guys this, but I feel like I was in such a zone when I was at working for independent labels that I feel like I don't even know what was going on around me half the time because I was really focused and insane. And I was going to ask you guys what it was like working with me back. I guess you could go first, Julie, because we worked together first.
I remember you being extremely hyper. Like really, yeah, like really hyper, talking a mile a minute. You've definitely s slowed down a lot, which we all do because we're old. But I remember you being really hyper and going a mile a minute, very opinionated, but then again, so am I. Um, and but really, what's the word? I would say really loyal and very emotional about your likes and your likes as far as your bands, bands that you considered yours. And you were a great proponent of those bands, whether that ended up being a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But you were a great cheerleader, I'm gonna say, for the bands that you loved. And by the way, I experienced another earthquake with the Necros at my apartment in LA.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And then we went to Tijuana. Anyway, so
It's funny because I remember where I was during most of the earthquakes. I remember once I was at Sharon Murley's house in Venice, and we
I
thought
don't know why I just thought of that, but the Necros, yeah.
yeah,
They came into my room. I was sleeping in my bed by myself and they were all in the living room. And they came into my room. I can't remember the guy's name. He had red hair, I remember. And he started shaking the bed and I'm like, "Why are you shaking the bed?" He goes, and I'm like, he's like, "I'm not shaking the bed. There's a fucking earthquake." I'm like, "Okay." But anyway,
people
that's what I
freak out.
remember. That's
People
what I
that people that aren't
remember.
familiar with earthquakes when they experience their first one in LA, they freak out, man. I had this guy Brian Blockinger from Crow's Nest Records in Chicago, a record store in my office with his girlfriend at Metal Blade in Sherman Oaks, and the building was on rollers. And we were having an earthquake, and the building was
Oh
going
my
like
God.
this.
Why would
And
you
him
have a
and
building
Oh,
on rollers in LA?
They did that in LA. They started putting these rollers underneath the
Oh,
building.
I
So
guess so it doesn't, the foundation
yeah.
doesn't
it
crack,
doesn't
and I
crack.
guess that
But
makes
Yeah.
the
sense.
thing is, it just keeps going for a while, and they
Ooh,
were
ooh,
freaking out. But anyways,
Dramamine.
I
Get,
mean,
get,
I got a
to
shitload of
have a big
stories.
supply of Dramamine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, about LA, about Enigma, about the Dogmatics, about the Dead Milkmen, but we're gonna have to save that because I'm hungry. Um,
well, Debbie, we worked together at two places, but we didn't really work together much at A&M. It was mostly at Giant, and I know that you didn't enjoy your time there because of the cold, ugly place that they had us in that basement, which was. But what do
It
you
was
remember
hard.
about?
It was a hard commute. It was in Rockville Center. I lived in Brooklyn. It was like just it was hard to get there by car. It was hard to get there by it was like a bunch of different trains you had to take. Like it was a hard and then it was, we were in that horrible little room. Um, you were just so angry. Julie and I talked about this yesterday as well.
yeah, there was a lot of anger
I
too.
said, I think she got you when you were happier, but I got you when you were really angry. I don't know, and I don't know if it, I know the situation at Dutch East was untenable because Barry wasn't paying the bands.
Ugh,
And then that just only ever is going to create problems for us, right? Um, and he wasn't giving us money to promote the bands, and you and I were doing everything with like a glue stick and a pencil, like that was that was our lives, like trying to make something happen with like a piece of
We
string.
didn't have computers, I don't think, did we?
Right.
Did we even have a computer?
We did. Yeah, we did. We did. I do remember having a computer. Because I remember I had to wear gloves, fingerless gloves, because it was so cold to be able to type on the computer. I still had to be able to type, so they were fingerless. That's how I remember there was a computer.
You
So
know what?
you were very, very angry, and that was a little bit hard for me, I think, because I feel like I was constantly trying to like sort of assuage the uh you know the beast, right?
The
Um,
beast.
so
The Beast? I was the Beast?
you were the
You were the
beast, yeah.
beast.
Wow.
You were just,
Okay,
you were angry.
I
You were
do
just
can say
really
this.
angry.
I could say this on behalf of myself. Julie and I, we worked together at the end of my time there, and
Right.
Debbie at the end of my time
And did
there.
your
So I
time
wasn't
there.
really
Yeah.
happy, I think, at the
In either place.
independent labels were very, very frustrating for me. I mean, I gave everything I had for 13 years doing that shit, but it was always like there was just a lot of problems.
When you're young, it's fine because you got nothing to lose. Doesn't matter if you make money, whatever, whatever. You don't really, it's okay if you don't have insurance, like all that shit.
Right, right,
But
right.
then it comes to a point, that's really why I left the industry. Plus, the industry changed dramatically at that point. Is, I had a kid,
I was just curious about that, but I felt like I got along really well with both of you guys. I mean, I was just in
Yeah.
kind of like probably not in the
We
greatest
definitely
mood.
had laughs and fun for sure. You know what, Debbie? You know what we have not talked about, which is interesting, and we'll do it maybe on our own sometime. Is Life Beat.
Oh, I know. I know. I was thinking about that the other day. EMI and Life Beat. We'll
Yep.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely for
Yeah.
another time. So, I think Steve, the thing with Giant Records was that you were making Barry some nice money because those records really do sell. The speed metal and the hardcore records really do sell. And he wasn't really giving you you know, sometimes we need somebody to say good job.
Oh,
And
we
you
didn't get any of that
and
there.
you didn't
Plus, we
get
had
and
those
we didn't
dicks
get
next
any of that
door.
there. And I think when Jay Fialkov came in and invested in the label and then he brought me in, I think you sensed that you were being ousted, but I don't think that's what it was. I think they just wanted to expand it. So I think in the beginning I was like a little bit of a threat to you as well. So that, you know, it was awkward.
I didn't. I had a crush on you the whole time we worked together. I
Oh,
should come
stop.
confess. I did. I really did. But I wanted to keep it professional because we were in this little tiny room. So I never said anything
I
about it.
forgot about Jay Fialkov. He was a
Did I
nice
really
guy.
get you by surprise here,
Yeah,
Debbie?
It
I've
didn't
never had
surprise me at all.
I had
I
no
didn't have a
idea.
crush on you, Julie. You were too
I
busy with
know. It's,
Scott Vanderbilt. Um,
oh God, you said it. You did. You said it.
It was a tough situation. I don't feel bad at all about the way you guys reacted to that because I know that you both caught me at. What I really do like about it is that we're friends now. And, you know, we were never not friends. It was just the music business was a very difficult industry.
I think it's
Yeah,
been
no, it
awesome lately, just getting reconnecting. It's funny because this year I feel like I want to reconnect strongly with a lot of people, you being one of them, Curtis being another. Um, but then there are a lot of people I want to get rid of too. So it's kind of it'll be a nice fresh new year. That Dogmatic show, the record
I
release
wish
party,
Debbie was there.
I
I did
know
too. It sounded
such
like
a
such a great.
it
I
was
have to say
great.
one thing about that show though, after Julie described the whole thing to me and band after band after band that played, um, her fiance, Steven, he deserves to get the Fiance of the Year award for for going to that show with you.
Oh yeah, for going and sticking it out but you know what? He's just the New York version of the Dogmatics. You know
Right.
what I mean? He's like he's New
The
York
Long Island Chowderhead.
Long Island Chowderhead, he was like he had a better time than I did.
He
He's
see, I talked to him about quite a bit. He seemed to be having a good time. He kept mumbling things under his breath, though. Every
Yeah,
time
well.
some guy would come up, he went, no, no, not another one, not
Yeah.
another one. He said that a
Yeah.
few times, not another one.
Oh, I
Yeah,
could hear that.
well,
I could hear
he's
that.
that's
Oh
funny.
yeah, so you guys did that, the Dogmatics record release party.
Right.
Um, Julie and I went, we saw, well, a bunch of things happened this year. Wow, it was a crazy, fucked up year, but having said that, it was also a pretty great year in music.
It was.
Um,
Yeah,
we saw Nick Cave in February, right? Julie, February?
that sounds right.
Um, and that was funny because I was driving to work and I was listening to Jubilee and I was like, oh my
Mm.
God, I missed Nick Cave because we went to see Warren Zanes read we took a road trip in upstate New York. It was, you know what, it was April because we did it for your birthday.
That's right. You're right.
We took a road trip to see Warren Zanes read from his book Delivering Me from Nowhere that ended up being the Springsteen
Movie.
movie, um, in a little bookshop in upstate New York. And that was nice because we reconnected with him. We ended up having dinner with him afterwards and ultimately have stayed in touch with him. Um, So I realized later that Nick Cave had played at the Barclays Center that night, and Julie and I both love Nick Cave. So I thought I'd missed it. I thought he was like in Europe, and I was listening to Jubilee one morning driving to work, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I have to see Nick Cave. I will go to the Czech Republic if that's what it takes for me to see Nick Cave on this tour. Because everybody was just saying, it's fantastic. It's the best concert you'll ever see. So I get to work, I look at his tour schedule, and he's playing Philadelphia like 2 nights later. So I call Julie at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, Julie, Nick Cave, Philadelphia, are you coming? Are you coming? She's like, yes. And like then hangs up on me. And like I call her back like 2 hours later and I'm like, we're definitely going to Philly. And she's like, I don't know what you were talking
Oh, that's right.
about.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's so funny. But then, like in an hour, Stephen had bought us tickets. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it was
So
a great show.
and that was, I mean, he just his shows are
They're
about life,
transcendental. It's like going to church.
going to
It's
church.
like going to church. Not that I know much about that, but but it's like it's godlike. It's so spiritual. I just love him. And he's funny too. You laugh, you cry, um, he's just, oh, that was a great show. We
And
also saw,
we
we
cried.
cried.
Oh my
We
God.
cried at Aerosmith too, which was that this year?
That was not this year.
That
No,
was not this,
I'm 62. That was my 60th
no,
birthday.
right, right. Oh
That
my
was an
God.
You
incredible
look
show, though.
26.
Oh, thank you. And then we saw Ace Frehley on his birthday. Rest in peace, Ace.
Oh.
Yeah, thank God we went to that show. I also saw Gene Simmons' solo show this year too, which
Do
was
you,
actually very, very good.
do you
Ace
guys
is
know Night Bob?
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
You know
yeah.
Night
Night
Bob.
Bob actually contacted me after I did your show, Steve,
Oh, he did?
because Night Bob was Degeneration's sound guy.
That's right. I did know that. Yeah,
Nice.
he's a great guy. I thought maybe if you knew him, you probably saw him there. He was with Ace at that show, probably, right?
I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
Sound. He
That
was
show was
Ace's sound.
packed. It was in like a warehouse and it was freaking
It
packed.
was at the Starland Ballroom in Sayreville, New Jersey, which is like this really like biker kind of place. And Julie, right? I was standing there and I turned to Julie and I was like, I've never been this checked out
Oh
ever
yeah.
in my
I
life.
was like, there are so many
And
like
Julie was like, I know. She's like, I'm just watching them walk by, checking you out. Like, it was just crazy. I could have had like any broken ass biker of my dreams that
that's right.
night.
Yeah,
they were all like on they all had like canes or they
Yeah,
walkers.
everyone needed a hip replacement. Every single person, the men and the women. Ace, it wasn't a great show. I will admit that. But Ace wore a Hello Kitty shirt, which just like I just loved. And then I went this year to the Kiss. Kiss usually has a cruise every year, but this year, for some reason, they couldn't book a boat. So they did Kiss Cruise Landlocked. Me and Steven went, and it was really fun. I mean, if you're a Kiss fan, I mean, I Debbie's got to come with us next year.
I
But
know. Actually, I'm moving my foot because I'm going to show you my Paul
oh
Stanley.
yeah, show with the Paul.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Yeah, Paul.
Oh wow.
And
Wow, that's cool.
I
That
I
is
think
great.
really
Steven
cool.
bought those for Debbie for her
Stephen,
birthday.
actually, her fiance bought those for
Wow.
me.
So yeah, that thing was great because they had a bunch of Kiss podcasts. They had this guy who was they had Doc McGee who I met and who, is a legend. And he did talked like, Q&A and talked about the band, which was really great. They had like the future of Kiss, like what they're going to do,
They
how
had
they
cooking
remix
with Paul Stanley, and she FaceTimed me while they were doing that. It was
cooking with
so
Paul
great.
Stanley. He made pasta pomodoro.
And Chris Angel was there.
Chris Angel's like my new boyfriend. I
Yeah,
love
I
him.
don't know if you guys ever heard of the Abbey Lounge. It was this little divey bar in Somerville, Cambridge
Not
that's gone
familiar.
now. Well, there was a band called the Click Five in Boston, and the manager, Wayne Sharp, I don't know if that rings a bell. He was Kiss's
That
tour
does
manager.
ring a
Yeah,
He
bell.
it
was
does ring a
Kiss's tour
bell.
manager, and he
Oh, okay.
worked then he worked with Harry Connick Jr. I don't know if you ever had crossed that path or not. But
I know why
anyways,
it's ringing a bell for me. I went out with a guy named Wayne Sharp, but he was a composer, not the
if
same guy.
this guy
Different
was
one, sure.
well, he ended up being a manager, and he came to me one day and he said, Kiss is playing in Mansfield, and I want to book a show for the Click Five, and I because Paul said he would come up and check him out. I'm like, sure. So I booked the show at the Abbey Lounge in Boston. This is like 2003. I had this band, The Charms, I used to manage, play with them. And people I told there that Kiss might show up were like, there's no way Kiss is showing up. All of a sudden the limo pulls up. It was Tommy Thayer and Paul Stanley and their wives or girlfriends and fucking Doc McGee. So I was like all excited I get to meet Paul Stanley, but I'm like, fuck that. Doc McGee's here. So I got Wayne to introduce me to Doc McGee. I was so excited to meet
He's
him.
so like when he spoke, he was talking about the band and his wife and just kind of his legacy. He started crying. Like he was so
Really?
genuine. Yeah, he was so genuine. It was really cool. The coolest thing was they had the original pyrotechnics guy, original Kiss pyrotechnics guy, speak. And he was hysterical. And he also did all the pyrotechnics for Sly Stone. And
Wow.
I'm like, that I want to hear because he was on tour with Sly Stone. I'm like, now that I want to hear about. Apparently, he's writing a book about it, which should be very interesting. Because that he's legendary. It was just really fun. It was really fun to see everything close up. There was an acoustic set. There was an Ace. This is why there was an Ace impersonator walking around, and this is after Ace passed away, but he was walking around and he looked exactly like
He
Ace.
did. I
He
thought
talked
it
like
was a
him.
wax figure. Julie sent
Yeah,
me a photo
that
of
was
it.
cool. That was
Wow.
a real fun thing. We did a lot of Jesse Malin this year.
We did a lot of Jesse Malin. Would have to say that the Nick Cave show was both of our best
Yeah,
favorite concert of the year. And that's saying a lot because I saw Oasis too. Did you see Oasis, Steve?
No, I did not.
I didn't get to that one.
Yeah, that was pretty
I wish I did.
incredible. Um, that was another one where you like cried.
Yeah,
Like
I
you
would
just
have.
couldn't fucking believe that you were seeing it.
Right, right.
Uh,
Yeah, it's pretty cool
those
that they were able
moments
to
of
bury their,
like
yeah.
this is when they did that whole the opening of the show was so genius when they did the the first thing you see is this is not a test and you're just your body just fills with all this adrenaline and like the dopamine is going crazy. Like, you just can't believe it because they're going to hit the stage in seconds. And it's like, wow, it really isn't a test. They're actually right in front of us and it's 2025. Uh,
Right. So cool.
they kind of helped save the world this year. I have to say the Gallagher brothers, it was tremendous, fucking tremendous. They made a shit ton of money too.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Like they needed it. Oh, maybe they did. Well,
uh,
the Seabees Fest, which you weren't at, I thought was really, really fun. It was a nice day. And I'm not a big festival person, especially in my senior years. But I don't like a lot of people around, but we've got the VIP, whatever, whatever. And Iggy played and he was fucking so great. I'm so glad I
And
saw him live.
Nick Zinner, the guitar player for the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, is his guitar player,
It's right, right.
which is really
Um,
funny because you and
Played
I
with
also
Iggy?
saw Iggy. Yeah,
Wow.
Iggy's guitar player. And then Julie and I also saw when Josh and Queens of the Stone Age backed Iggy up. Uh,
right,
I always joke around with my bands. I'm like, apparently Iggy and I have the same exact taste in music,
right,
which which shouldn't surprise me, being that he pretty much raised me, right?
right.
Um,
Uncle Iggy, like
I,
Jack
I,
White said
But
at the
yeah,
Rock and
we
Roll
did a
Hall of
lot
Fame.
of Jesse Malin because Jesse has this play going on, Silver Manhattan, that he'd been workshopping, and it was just like, starting a year ago December, it was like his big return to the stage. So
Yeah, the
um,
Beacon shows were great.
the shows were great. His spirit is indomitable. He's he's something, man.
He really
You
is.
want to talk about a fucking force of nature. And he gave me a ticket to the Patti Smith tribute at Carnegie Hall. So I got to see, and Karen O performed at that as well. She did Glorious, and that was phenomenal.
you guys had a really good year for
And
I saw
then
shows.
a couple
Julie
of
got to
Patti
see
things.
Patti Smith in Philly.
Right.
I couldn't get a
And
ticket.
I got to
Couldn't
see
get my own
her
list.
do a reading with a acoustic set, which I didn't even know we were going to get. We got a free book and all that at
Oh, great.
Princeton University.
Nice.
That was just a few weeks ago. It was really good. And I was expecting I don't know what I was expecting, but
You know,
yeah. So we saw a lot of good things. I would say my worst show of the year was Judas Priest.
really?
So bad. So bad. I mean, first of all, more costume changes than Cher.
Wow.
Okay.
For
Like,
Halford?
I mean, he changed costumes 12 times in the set.
The Metal God.
Oh, he's so not. Like, it's just but Alice Cooper was there, and I think was it Corrosion of Conformity? See, I don't know. There was
Yeah,
a cool,
COC was on that bill.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. I had no idea, so that was kind of fun, and we got there early, so I got to see them. I saw the Descendants and the Circle Jerks, which was a really fun show too.
Circle Jerk. I saw the Circle Jerks at House of Blues 2 years ago in Boston. It was unbelievable. One of
Yeah,
the best shows I've ever. I saw them like 3 or 4 times in the old days, but they
right.
still can bring it. Keith
They really
Morris,
can. You know who played that show too? TSOL. They were on Enigma. Do you
Oh
remember
well,
them?
you know what's so
of
funny?
course.
The guy who's the drummer for TSOL, and he was the drummer for the Dickies, he just
That's
reached
right.
out to me on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wished me Happy New Year. He was like, "You have some resume. I was the drummer for the Dickies and the drummer for TSOL." And I was like, "Oh my God, took us over
You
Disneyland."
you know that you must know the drummer from Circle Jerks, and I'm having a mental block. He was Queen of Stone Age's drummer for a long time.
Oh, Joey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joey. Well, I can't think of his last name.
Kava
Spanish name or
of a
something.
like, yeah, I can't think.
He's an unbelievable drummer. Oh
Every
my
drummer they've ever had is
God.
unbelievable.
You
Oh,
gotta
so
be.
that was the other thing that I wanted to mention too, was the Queens of the Stone Age this year doing the whole Alive in the Catacombs thing where they went to
Castillo, Joey Castillo.
Castillo, right?
Castillo, right.
Definitely Spanish. Wow, yeah, three
Yeah.
Spanish.
Castle.
Um, they went down into the catacombs in Paris and they recorded a record there and they did a film of it and it's beautiful. And then they did a tour of it with an orchestra and oh my
Amazing.
God, it was
That sounds
fucking
cool.
incredible.
Is there a
That
video of that?
week,
There's gotta be, right?
that was a crazy week in my life too, because I had Jesse's play on a Sunday, and then Butch Walker's Marvelous Three were in town on that Monday, and then Josh was in town on
How
that
in the
Friday.
world are you keeping this pace?
And it was like
God.
my three favorite guys in the universe all in New York in the same week was just astounding. So yeah, it's been a year like that.
Yeah,
I
totally.
can't do that anymore. I'm just burnt out. It's just too many years
I
of.
can if I go and then leave, and don't, whatever.
I was
But
so tired at the Queens of the Stone Age thing, and the other thing that they did, which was beautiful, was it was almost like Queens of the Stone Age meets the Met Gala because people were dressing up for these shows. So I had like a velvet gown on and like all this makeup, and I was like done for it. But everybody was just really beautiful lace and makeup, and it was spectacular, just gorgeous. And Josh wanted that. He was like, I want a black tie kind of a thing going
oh,
on.
cool.
So people looked extraordinary. But I was so tired because I also get up at 4:30 to teach. I was so tired that I was really kind of almost hallucinating, I think.
Oh my God. So people
By,
really weren't wearing tuxedos and lace. You were just imagining
I was
it. They
just
were all
imagining it.
in
Yeah,
Misfits t-shirts and jeans. Okay,
exactly.
gotcha.
Hey, you guys, thank you so much for doing this.
We have one more thing.
Oh, there's always another.
There's one more thing, and that is that Julie and I are looking into an opportunity that would bring more of content with the two of us in the new year. Um, so it's something
Stay
we're
tuned
checking out. We can't really say too much about it, but if it can work out, we're definitely going to make it work out. And we just wanted to say, and Steve, it came about
because you,
because of you.
The
Um,
angry guy.
the angry,
the
the
angry
angry,
Sorry,
guy.
I'm still trying to get over
the
that.
hyper angry guy in the corner.
Yeah, but you were hot too. Like I
Yeah,
wish
so
I'd known
cute.
you had a crush on me.
So
Um,
cute.
Please don't ruin my day. It's been going much better. One thing about me with women is I've always had this problem. The ones I really wanted to approach, I never was brave enough. And the looks thing, it's easy to attract people when you got looks, but
That's
it
gone.
failed. It's not good. It's like I never really approached the ones I wanted to. I don't mean to sound all sad and lonely because I'm
no,
not, but
but when I think about the giant things, the giant years, one of the things that I was going to say earlier before you said that was I thought one of the things that was odd was that you and I never went out socially together. And like Jeff Packman, who came in after you.
Jeff.
I don't know why that is. I think I was just in a weird space at that time,
Yeah.
not
Yeah, we
trusting.
just worked together. We never did anything social together.
We never
Well, also
argued or anything.
geography. You lived on Long Island. You lived in Brooklyn. I mean, like,
That was a big mistake leaving 229 East 10th Street, but I couldn't stand driving in with Gerard and Patrick Amory and those guys every day. They drove me out of my mind.
Gerard.
So
Gerard.
anyway,
Anyway,
just to finish up, there might be something happening this year with Julie and I, some other like thing
Are you
we're
guys starting a
providing
podcast?
content in some type of
You
way.
are.
And it came about because of you, Steve. It came about because somebody watched our podcast together and they loved it. So they approached me about something.
yeah.
So we're in discussions about it,
I think it's great.
we just want to say to your listeners, if you'd like to hear more stories from me and Julie
Yeah,
and
let us know.
music
Get in touch
and
with Steve and let us know, or get in
get
touch
in
with me.
touch with Steve. Yeah, and let us know how you
Wow, I'm
guys
very
would feel
happy
about
about
that.
this. That is really good news.
Yeah. Get a little
Wow,
women's perspective on some stuff. We'll see.
you
We'll
guys will
see.
take over. You guys will take over,
Nah,
man. I'm
I
sure
don't
of
think
it.
so.
It's too
Steve, what's
bad.
going on with you?
It's too bad that the podcast "Guys We Fucked" title is already taken. Do you know that podcast?
Oh,
Guys
yeah.
We Fucked.
I know, but
Corinne
we were thinking about that knowing.
Corinne Fisher and
That was our first choice.
it's two women that are two hot women that are comedians, and they have a podcast called Guys We
That's
Fuck.
cute. We'll have to check it
Yeah,
out.
you'll like it. Check it out.
We'll
Right.
just have to call it the Stevettes.
Yeah.
Was there something else, or is that it?
I think that's it. I
We're
mean,
good.
there's always something else, but we're good.
There's always
Well,
something else, Steve. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, Steve.
Happy New
Happy New
Thank
Year,
Year.
you.
your audience. Thank you for having us again, and happy seventh anniversary.
Thank
Oh
you. I love you
yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
Love you
it's great.
guys.
Love you
Love
Thanks.
you
too.
too.
All
Come
Well,
right.
visit the Kiss Room. It's all yours.
Whoops. Oh, sorry. Oh, wait a second. See,